Chapter 17. As long as you don't make excessive demands, I'll listen to you. In the end, Qingye was still terrified. Qingye decided to be a wretched person for the time being and slowly develop. When the time comes for me to find out about his dark history, I will be able to go wild. Yihua was very satisfied as he nodded his head and said, "You have made some progress." Qingye snorted, wishing that she could pick up the bowl of congee in her hand and cover that perfect face of hers. After eating breakfast, we will go to buy gifts. Come to my house for lunch. Qingye pouted her mouth and said. Yihua didn't object to it and lightly agreed. Qingye thought that Yihua would say something weird again, and didn't expect that he would agree so straightforwardly. Seems like he isn't being unreasonable, TSK. He was just looking for trouble. He hoped that nothing would go wrong today. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. However, in this world, who would be able to afford to buy a gift from me? Not to mention, having a meal together with them was a blessing that I had cultivated for several lifetimes. Just like this woman beside me, being able to get pregnant with my child was something that she should be the most proud of, and all of the women in the world would be envious of her. After buying some cigarettes, alcohol, and health supplements, the two of them returned to Leisure Bar. Qingye, on the other hand, was choosing clothes in the room. She definitely had to dress herself up beautifully. Although she was already beautiful enough, which girl would still complain that she wasn't beautiful enough? As for Yihua, he was still wearing a suit. No matter when he goes out, he would always be wearing a black suit. This point would not change, even if it was the hot summer. Standing at the bar counter, Yihua concocted a cup of wine for himself. In this world, wine and cigarettes are indeed good things. If I were to make a ranking, wine would be number 1, cigarettes would be number 2, and women would barely be number 3. Wu Lai Gu suddenly appeared and hauled a few times towards Yihua. Royal translation, Your Honor, I have already investigated this matter. This person is someone from an international assassin group. I have interrogated his soul, and he only received assassination missions. If you want to investigate this matter, you will have to go to the London headquarters. Yihua lightly took a sip of the rose rain that he had prepared, then said faintly, "There's nothing to investigate, just kill them all." Wu, Imperial translation, Your Honor, I still have an appointment today. How about we let Wei Chang go instead? It has been a long time since he ate something good. Yihua narrowed his eyes and looked at Lai Gu. You are still together with that female celebrity. Lai Gu fiercely shook his head, then obediently sat on the ground and stuck out his tongue. For a bone dragon to act like this, there really isn't anyone else. Yihua sighed lightly, Wei Chang. Space suddenly distorted, and Wei Chang's figure slowly walked out. Wei Chang knelt down on one knee and placed his right hand on his chest, Your Honor. Lai Gu said that you haven't eaten your fill for a long time. Yihua lit up a cigarette and looked at his subordinate coldly through the smoke. Wei Chang said gravely, Your Honor, you said before that we must be humane, subordinate doesn't dare to eat too much. Lai Gu wants you to go and have a good meal. There is an assassin group in London, you go and deal with it. Yihua said coldly. At this moment, he had already sentenced those people to death. Wei Chang was a little depressed and didn't give a straightforward answer. What? Your Honor, will you reimburse me for the return air ticket? Bang! The wine cup in Yihua's hand immediately shattered. That woman is already irritated enough, and right now, even my two subordinates dare to openly disobey my orders. It seems like you two want to rebel against me. Yihua's pupils suddenly turned red, appearing extremely bewitching. However, this was also a symptom of Yihua getting angry. This subordinate dares not. Woof, Imperial translation, this subordinate dares not. 1 hour later, if that assassin group isn't exterminated, I will exterminate you too. Yihua waved his hand. Seems like my decision was wrong. Being humane will cause one to rebel. In the past, they wouldn't go against my orders, and it could also be that my temper is getting better and better. Lai Gu and Wei Chang were slapped to the Pacific Ocean, and right now, they were soaking in the seawater. Woof, woof, woof. Imperial translation, gluttonous monster, you actually rejected such a good thing. Wei Chang said helplessly, Your Honor said that we should be humane. Recently, I have been reading a novel, and in that novel, the protagonist spoke to the boss like this. Woof, woof, woof. Imperial translation, you will be harmed by the novel sooner or later, and I almost got implicated by it. Why didn't you go? Didn't you like to do this kind of thing the most in the past? Wei Chang asked puzzledly. Exterminating a family was Lai Gu's favorite, and the number of people that died in his hands was innumerable, especially the females. Woof, woof. Imperial translation, a celebrity asked me to go mountain climbing today. I reckon that there is definitely a cave in that mountain. Wei Chang said faintly, then his body gradually floated up, and his wet security uniform instantly dried up. Woof, woof, woof. Imperial translation, how did you know? Wei Chang rolled his eyes. If there isn't a cave, would you go? After finished speaking, a black hole appeared in front of Wei Chang once again. After Wei Chang stepped into the black hole, his entire body disappeared. Woof, woof, woof. Imperial translation, gluttonous monster, you actually didn't send me off, I am going to be late for my date. Lai Gu howled in grief as he slowly moved forward in the seawater using a doggy crawling style. However, a huge black figure suddenly appeared beneath Lai Gu's body. A huge whale opened its bloody mouth and swallowed both the dog and the fish, then dived back into the sea. The surface of the sea returned back to normal, but the huge whale at the bottom of the sea seemed to be in pain. Streaks of blood flowed out from the huge whale's mouth, and countless great white sharks were attracted over. Pfff. Suddenly, huge bone wings stretched out from the two sides of the huge whale. After the wings were spread out, the huge whale's head began to distort. With a bang, the huge whale's head exploded and was replaced by a huge dragon head. The fangs on the huge whale's head made one's hair stand on end, and the dragon's tail pierced through the huge whale's tail. This should be a huge whale that can fly, right? Woof, woof, woof. Imperial translation, much faster. Lai Gu suddenly recalled something. I am already used to woof, it doesn't seem too good for me to still woof after becoming a dragon. If this were to be spread out, I will lose face. Roar, roar, roar. The dragon's roar formed a huge whirlpool at the bottom of the sea and immediately spread towards the surroundings. A huge whale with wings happily swam in the sea. However, at the bottom of the sea in another direction, a little golden dragon appeared. At this moment, the little golden dragon was looking at its surroundings vigilantly. Just now, when it was swallowing fishes, it suddenly heard a dragon's roar that caused one's heart to tremble. Could it be that there is still someone who possesses a devouring system? How is that possible? Its level is actually so high. This place is not suitable to stay for long. I should first go back to school to eat some fishes and earn some money. Chapter 18. Wei Chang wore a light blue security uniform and arrived at the entrance of the castle and politely extended his hand. Bang, bang, bang. He knocked on the door. It must be said that Wei Chang's luck was not bad. Today just happened to be the day of the assassin group's regular meeting, and they were discussing the mission of Long and City last night. In the depths of the castle, 10 higher-ups were having a serious discussion. They were dressed appropriately, and with a glance, one could tell that they were the elites of the upper class. Cold-blooded is our S-rank assassin, how could he fail? I don't know, I feel that we should put this mission aside for now. China is not a good place. If Caesar is still here, he will definitely oppose this mission. Furthermore, cold-blooded is Caesar's friend. Caesar has already left, let's not talk about it. Wei Chang knocked on the door for a minute, but no one actually opened the door. He seemed to be a little impatient. Suddenly, a black light shot out from his fingertip and rushed into the sky. It stopped at a height of 100 meters and formed a black umbrella, enveloping the castle within. Bang! A gunshot rang out, a bright yellow bullet shot towards Wei Chang's head. Just that, before it could touch Wei Chang's body, it was blocked by a formless black light. The bullet fell onto the ground powerlessly, and a helpless sound rang out. Wei Chang stared at the sniper on the spire and extended his hand. There wasn't any huge explosion, but rather, his arm deformed. It turned into an unknown object with a big mouth. The sniper on the spire was stupefied. What the fuck is this monster? With this moment of distraction, that monster with only a mouth already appeared in front of him. Rows of sharp teeth, as it opened its mouth, that sliver of mucus made people tremble in fear. Without waiting for the sniper to scream, that sinister big mouth already covered the sniper's head, and like a snake, it directly swallowed the sniper. However, seeing that the extremely long arm was like a throat, that swelling thing was that person, and it was really being transported into Wei Chang's body. Licking his lips, Wei Chang's eyes completely turned black as he muttered, "The taste of humans is still so tempting." The alarms suddenly rang out, and the higher-ups in the castle were immediately startled. What happened? Is Interpol here? I don't know, something must have happened outside. What's there to worry about? Every year, there will always be some arrogant fellows. Continue with the meeting. Wei Chang chuckled and opened up his arms, forming countless big mouth monsters. Each big mouth monster seemed to have a target, and they pierced through the buildings. The huge castle seemed to be wrapped up by a giant octopus, and the scene was terrifying. Moreover, it could be clearly seen that every throat had a bulging substance entering Wei Chang's body. Burp, this is the taste. I haven't tasted it for a few years, and today, I am going to break my taboo. His honor sure is benevolent. The siren immediately disappeared, and the higher-ups in the secret room heaved a sigh of relief. See, I told you, they're just some small fries. The others smiled and didn't think much of it. They were the only ones left in the castle. Of course, Wei Chang had to put the main dish at the end to announce their death. This was the old rule. Wei Chang pushed open the door and entered the castle. There were all sorts of armors and oil paintings. Wei Chang took them all and walked towards the main hall. When he arrived at the center of the hall, Wei Chang stopped and stepped with his right foot. His whole body immediately descended, breaking through all kinds of concrete, and reached the lowest level of the conference room. He stared at the 10 middle-aged men who were in the middle of a meeting. The 10 higher-ups were discussing the direction of the corporation's discovery. Suddenly, a person descended from above. It was a stranger wearing a uniform. Those who understood Chinese could see the armband immediately. Security. Who are you? One of the men stood up and shouted. Wei Chang slowly approached, and a few of the men had already pulled out their pistols. Bang, bang, bang. The bullets couldn't even enter Wei Chang's body, and all of them landed at Wei Chang's feet. My name is Wei Chang. I am one of the 7 deadly sins under the Supreme Overlord, gluttony. To be able to die under the Supreme Overlord's command is your fortune, so please give up resisting. Wei Chang opened up his arms and had a look of enjoyment on his face. It was as if he had returned to the past. The scenes of massacring and killing instantly appeared in his mind. Also, this special line, it has been a long time since I said it. My tone doesn't seem to have any feeling. Should I say it again? What bullshit. Wei Chang cast a glance, and his arm instantly turned into a big mouth monster, swallowing the man. The other 9 were all stunned. What kind of monster is this? Is it a movie? Is it an alien? Wei Chang's arm could be seen once again turning into 9 big mouth monsters, and the big mouth monsters floated above everyone's head. Viscous liquid dripped down from the big mouth monsters, and the liquid dripped onto their unique hairstyle. Caesar won't let. Before they could even finish speaking, the 9 people were instantly swallowed up. Burp. Wei Chang let out a burp. Although it wasn't much, I still enjoyed it to my heart's content. I don't know how long I have to wait for the next time. As for the Caesar that they were talking about, it must be a joke. Evil spirit, death mage. Just like that day, a skeleton that was wearing a black robe rose from the ground, then kneeled in front of Wei Chang. Master, clean up. I will solemnly obey Master's command. Wei Chang casually turned into a black hole and went into the leisure bar. And this death mage floated in the sky and chanted silently. Soon after, he raised his staff, Hellfire. Immediately, countless fireballs appeared in the sky and bombarded the castle, leaving behind only a piece of scorched earth. Wei Chang, who returned to the leisure bar, did not see Yihua. He first hung the oil painting that he conveniently took from the bar on the wall, then contacted Yihua. At this moment, Yihua, who was currently sitting in the car, heard Wei Chang's report. Looking at his watch, 26 minutes. However, there is another way to deal with this matter. Wei Chang still has his old temper. I will properly educate him when I return. One must use one's brain when doing things. The one who was driving the car was naturally Qingye. Her ice-cold face appeared to be panting with anger. This fellow is really lazy to the extreme. He doesn't even know how to drive a car, and he still wants me, a girl, to drive for him. What a big uncle. Yihua, can you find some time to go and get your driving license? Qingye couldn't help but say. Yihua opened the window and said faintly, it will be fine as long as you know how to drive. But in the future, when my stomach becomes big, it won't be good for me to drive. Hire a driver then. Qingye was actually speechless. Not only is this man lazy, he also doesn't have any motivation. He even teases me all day long. Even that fiancé of mine isn't as crazy as him. Qingye. Yihua called out lightly. What is it? Don't expect me to do boring things. Yihua said faintly, then took out a stick of cigarette, paused for a moment, then kept it. When Qingye, who was originally going to get angry, saw Yihua's action, she pouted her mouth and actually didn't say anything. The two of them drove towards the suburbs. Chapter 19. But what was certain was that the current Qing family was also very powerful. It was one of the largest groups in the country. Unfortunately, there were no men in the Qing family in this generation, only 2 women. Although their talents were not bad, they were still women after all. In the future, they would also have to marry someone. Marrying a woman from the Qing family was equivalent to marrying a mountain of gold and silver, and could even become the object of envy for men. Yihua was the man who married Qing family's woman. Unfortunately, it was all for the sake of the child in the woman's stomach, and he didn't have any feelings for her at all. The air in the suburbs was a lot fresher. Yihua opened the window and narrowed his eyes. Your family sure is rich, to even specially build a road. Yihua said lightly. Qingye let out a breath. Having a lot of money is also a problem. I can help you relieve your worries. Yihua said faintly. Yihua, do you really have the nerve to use my money? You are a man, don't you know how to earn money yourself? Qingye couldn't help but lecture. Although I am able to support him for my entire life, I don't want to see him not thinking about improving himself. Yihua rubbed his temple, and his tone was still as calm as before. I'm just bored. Hee, can you not act cool, Qingye? Your acting is much deeper than mine, right? Right when the two of them were preparing to quarrel with each other, a red Ferrari F12 whizzed by, sweeping up a bunch of leaves, and one of the leaves even landed on Yihua's shoulder. According to the custom from 5 years ago, this car would be sliced into two halves by Yi Hua using tree leaves. Qinya wrinkled her eyebrows as she stared at the Ferrari in front of her. Her beautiful eyes revealed out a bit of energy as she fiercely stepped on the accelerator. After all, Audi A8 was used for business purposes, how could it be a match for Ferrari F12? Qinya could not even see the back of the car anymore, and unwillingly, she slowed down the car's speed. "That fiancé of yours?" Yi Hua asked faintly. "No, but I'm more annoyed than that man." Yi Hua's interest seemed to have been piqued. To be able to become the target of Qinya's anger, I reckon that this person should be someone important, right? "Tell me." "She is my half-sister, Qin Yutong." Qinya said coldly, seemingly not having a good relationship with this little sister of hers. However, Yi Hua became even more interested. "Is it that celebrity, Qin Yutong? Is there a second one?" "That's not right. Do you have feelings for her?" According to Qinya's understanding of Yi Hua, this man indeed isn't interested in ordinary beauties. However, the person that he took the initiative to speak about was only his own sister. Yi Hua nodded his head. "Of course I do. However, I didn't come to Qing Bar in person, and instead, I waited for her big sister to come over." Thinking up to here, Yi Hua laughed. This is the benefit of not being in control, everything is filled with surprises and surprises. A layer of frost instantly covered Qinya's face as she said in a deep voice, "You're my husband now. It's not appropriate for you to have thoughts about my sister-in-law in front of me, right? What's inappropriate about it? It's normal for a man and a woman to be in love. You're comfortable, but you don't want your sister to be comfortable." TSS TSS TSS. The tires left behind black marks on the ground, and Qinya's expression became a bit colder, looking as if she wanted to perish together with Yi Hua. "Say that again. Do you want to quarrel with me again?" Yi Hua asked coldly. "You're the one who wants to fight. You're my husband now." Yi Hua couldn't help but take out a cigarette and lit it up. "There's no doubt that I'm your husband." "Then, you're still having thoughts about my sister?" Qinya questioned angrily. "I never force anyone. That day, you also did it willingly. If your sister were to deliver herself to me, I wouldn't reject her." Yi Hua straightforwardly made it clear. Yi Hua rather admired Qin Yutong. 5 years ago, Qin Yutong was a small character that gradually became an international superstar. Yi Hua had witnessed the entire process. If it was changed to his own world, Qin Yutong would definitely be a supreme existence. Hearing Yi Hua's promise, Qinya let out a sigh of relief. "Don't worry, she won't feed you like how I fed you." "What if? I'll give you condoms," Qinya said fiercely. "Ha!" Yi Hua let out a hearty laugh. "Although this woman would make me angry at times, but sometimes, she also seems to be very, what is she? Using humans' words, she should be cute, right? Forget it, she's just stupid." "You're still laughing. I'm going to fight it out with you." To be honest, Yi Hua wasn't good at fighting like this. Facing against Qinya's pinching tactics, Yi Hua didn't have the strength to fight back at all. Qinya discovered that Yi Hua didn't fight back, and became even more insatiable. "Enough." Yi Hua couldn't help but shout out. "Enough is enough." Qinya snorted, then started the car and drove towards the manor that was not far away. There were 2 security guards standing outside the black iron gate. Just that, the security guard's attire was of a higher class than Wei Chang's attire, at least reaching the level of a suit. "Big miss," Qinya said coldly. "Open the door." The 2 security guards foolishly looked at Qinya driving into the manor, and even after a few minutes, they still didn't react. "Big miss seems to have changed," one of the security guards said blankly. "And she became even more beautiful than second miss. However, I feel that second miss is still. It is still better to conquer her, after all, Second Miss is now an international superstar. Indeed, there is nothing to say about Second Miss's figure, but who is that man? Isn't Big Miss's fiancé already here? I feel that there will be a good show to watch today. That man just now seemed to be very awesome. Yihua, who was sitting in the car, laughed again. He had heard the conversation between the security guards. And when Qingye saw Yihua laughing, she felt unhappy. She was definitely thinking of dirty things. Those two security guards are comparing you with Qin Yutong. Humph. Qingye snorted. Although my little sister's reputation is great, I am not just for show. The manor's architecture leaned towards European style. There was a rockery fountain at the entrance of the house, showing off a sense of grandeur. There was also a helicopter at the side, and that Ferrari F12 from just now was already parked at the side. Within the helicopter, there was also a Rolls-Royce and a Bentley, just that there was a Passat parked at the side, making it seem a bit low-class. When Qingye saw that Passat, her eyebrows slightly wrinkled. I didn't expect that Long Outyan would come so early. This car is even provided by the company. This man sure is impatient. When are you going to provide me with a car? Yihua said after closing the car door. In any case, I just want to see Qingye get angry. This is simply too stupid, Qingye said petulantly. Isn't the card with you? If you want to buy something, go and buy it yourself. I wonder how much the most expensive car costs. Yihua said in a low voice. And Qingye almost sprained her leg, this bastard. Yihua. Please stop messing around, we are already at my house, listen to my arrangements for everything. Alright. Qingye sighed, I hope that I don't screw up later on. Qingye could be seen walking to the front of Yihua, then lightly tidied up her collar with both of her hands until she was satisfied, then held onto Yihua's arm and walked towards the door. Yihua's brows slightly wrinkled. That moment just now was very strange. It seems like I am not that lonely anymore. Chapter 20. After opening the door and entering the house, Yihua couldn't help but sigh with emotion. This woman's family is not just ordinary rich, but only this kind of family would be able to bring up this kind of woman. If he was not mistaken, the flooring should be sandalwood. 1 square meter cost around a few thousand yuan. For such a big house, just the flooring alone was not a small expense, not to mention the other furniture, which would cost at least hundreds of thousands, and at most millions. Your family sure is rich. Yihua said faintly. Qingye said lightly, I'm all right. This woman was starting to show off again. It seemed like she couldn't be praised. Young miss, you're finally back. An old man who was wearing butler attire could be seen walking over with a smile. When the old man saw Yihua, the old man went into a slight daze, but very quickly, the old man returned back to his original expression. Qingye revealed out a light smile, Uncle Fu. Second Miss and Mr. Long have arrived, Uncle Fu said with a smile. Qingye nodded her head, then took out a pair of ladies' slippers from the shoe cabinet and gracefully took off her high heels. Uncle Fu sighed with emotion. The young miss seemed to be a little different than before. She seemed to be even more beautiful. Shoes. Yihua said faintly. Qingye really wanted to give him a slap. Is there anyone like you who acts like a big boss? You even want me to take your shoes? However, when he saw that Yihua was holding so many gifts in his hands, he reluctantly decided to help him this once. This time, it was Uncle Fu's turn to be surprised. The young miss was actually squatting on the ground to help him change his shoes. Who was this man? A friend? Probably not that close. Boyfriend? That shouldn't be the case. The young Miss fiancé was still sitting inside, and his identity had been confirmed by the old master. It's too small. Yihua said faintly. Qingye almost flipped out. Don't think that you can be like this just because you are the father of the child. Uncle Fu smiled and said, Sir, I'll help you find it. please wait a moment. No need, Uncle Fu. There's another pair here. This time, Yihua was finally able to pass through Qinya's body, and he no longer had any reason to make things difficult for Qinya. Eldest miss, sir, please come in. Qinya was a little nervous. After all, this time, I came here to lay my cards on the table and refuse to be an obedient girl. Uncle Fu, is my mother back? Qinya asked. Master, Madam, and Second Madam are all back, Uncle Fu said. Yihua was a little curious. What does this Second Madam mean? Originally, I thought that Qinya's mother had already passed away. After all, Qinya had said that Qin Yutong was her half-sister, but from the looks of it, that was not the case at all. Her father actually had 2 women, and he even openly brought them home. Interesting. How refreshing. Seeing that Yihua was smiling, Qinya immediately knew what Yihua was thinking about, and she angrily stomped on Yihua. A layer of slipper mark appeared on Yihua's pair of pure white socks, and his mesophobia immediately erupted. Do you want to quarrel here? Yihua said coldly. This woman is getting too arrogant. Humph. How could Yihua tolerate the stain on his socks? He couldn't help but want to chop it off. Give me a pair of socks. You. Qinya was also very angry. Isn't it just a bit darker? Was there a need to make such a fuss? Quickly go. Yihua said gravely. I can't tolerate this for even half a minute. Uncle Fu hurried over. Sir, please wait a moment. Uncle Fu, don't pay attention to him. Qinya was starting to get angry. Right now, it is true that I will change it, but what about in the future? He was even more insatiable. Big miss, Yihua's gaze became colder and colder, to the point that he seemed like he was about to go berserk. Qinya, this is the last warning to you. Then, this is the last warning to you too. I am not your servant, I am your wife. My patience is limited. Uncle Fu's eyes opened wide, as if he had seen Thanos invading the Earth. Big Miss actually said that, she is my wife. What is going on? This was the first time that Yihua had seen such an arrogant woman, and he was simply about to explode from anger. If not for the child in my stomach, take off your socks. Yihua took a few deep breaths and controlled his anger. In recent years, my temper has become better and better. If it was in the past, I would have already started massacring. Yo, this man actually gave in. I thought that he was going to fight me to the end. Since you took a step back, then I will also take a step back. Qinya obediently squatted down and took off Yihua's socks. Only then did Yihua's anger calm down. Uncle Fu felt that his world was changing. What is going on with Big Miss? She even bent down and helped this man take off his socks. In the future, you better not talk back to me, my temper is not good. Yihua said coldly. Qinya snorted, I am a pregnant woman, you better not make me angry. Pregnant woman. Uncle Fu had a feeling that he was going to faint. My God. Are they acting for me to see, or are they really going to do it for real? But isn't their aura a little too strange? Both of them don't like to talk to each other, yet they are so intimate with each other. I hope that Big Miss won't go overboard today. My grandfather and master have been worried to death because of this matter. The corridor was not very long, and as Uncle Fu pushed open the double doors, a few people appeared in front of Yihua. Those few people also looked towards Yihua, and their gazes seemed as if they were looking at Yihua's real body. Long Outyan came early in the morning. Of course, his purpose was very clear, and that was to curry favor with Qin family's people, check their pulse, and tell them some things to keep in good health. Qinya's grandfather was 80 years old this year, and his body had all kinds of chronic illnesses. However, ever since Long Outyan appeared, all of his illnesses were controlled, and even slowly became better. Also, his wife, son, and 2 daughters-in-law were all cured by Long Outyin. I didn't expect that my old comrade would have such a formidable grandson. If Qingye and him were to become a couple, it would definitely be Qing family's fortune. Outyin, how are you getting along with Qingye? Qing Qingren drank the tea brewed by his wife, Wang Muqing, and asked with a smile. Long Outyin's looks were rather good, and could be considered to be able to squeeze into the ranks of handsome guys. His casual attire was also very clean, but it was lacking a bit of prestige, but this was not a problem. And right now, he was looking at the big celebrity, Qin Yutong. Just now when Qin Yutong walked in, he was still dumbstruck. Why would the big celebrity, Qin Yutong, come here? So she is actually Qingye's younger sister, born from the second wife, Zihan. Now that he saw Qin Yutong in person, he was simply too happy. Her temperament was otherworldly and refined, just like a fairy. She wore a white long dress, revealing a small portion of her lotus-like arms, her beautiful hair that was as soft and smooth as a waterfall, her beautiful eyes that had a clear distinction between black and white were extremely clear, just like spring water, not containing the slightest bit of impurities. Her elegant sitting posture reflected her good upbringing, and the curves that were revealed were even more alluring. Her figure even more so made people's heart beat faster, wishing that they could immediately kneel down and lick her thighs. From head to toe, not a single flaw could be found. She is simply the best among women. No, 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 this is already at the fairy level. Chapter 21. Outyin. Qing Qingren called out once again, but there wasn't any displeasure on his face. Only then did Long Outyin come back to his senses. He apologized, "Grandpa Qing, I'm sorry, I was too surprised. Yutong is too beautiful." As Qing Yutong's mother, Zihan said tenderly, "Outyin is so talented, but it is a pity that our Yutong doesn't have this fortune." Long Outyin was elated. "Mother-in-law, don't stand on ceremony. I, Long Outyin, can accept all of them." Qing Yutong took a glance at this man with contempt, then let out a ridiculing cold snort. This expression, this cold snort, is simply too similar to Qingye. "Oh right, Ao Tian, why didn't you come back with Qingye?" Wang Muqing asked concernedly. It must be said that Qingye's father, Qing Huaxian, has very good eyesight. His 2 wives are very beautiful, and even at this age, as long as they dress up a bit, when they go out, they will definitely look like sisters. With just a look, one can tell that Qing Huaxian is a man who knows how to enjoy. Long Outyin paused for a moment. "Qingye has been busy with work recently, so she asked me to accompany you guys first. She will be arriving soon. I saw big sister coming over with a man," Qing Yutong suddenly said, causing Long Outyin's expression to darken. Qing Huashuan's gaze sunk. "Man. Yeah, he's not bad looking, more handsome than him." Qing Yutong pointed at Long Outyin and said. The latter even had the heart to kill someone. "I am the fairy doctor, my left hand can cure people, and my right hand can kill people. Who dares to steal Long Outyin's woman? You're even more handsome than me. All of you must die." Wang Muqing's face immediately became cold. This point of hers was inherited from her mother. "Outyin, don't worry, Qingye, this child is very stubborn, I don't know where she hired this actress from." Long Outyin thought to himself, it better be an actor, or else. "What did you say?" "Yaya brought my grandson-in-law back, where is he?" An old granny could be seen shouting excitedly, and looking left and right. She was precisely Qingye's grandmother, Mei Xuanshuang. Mei Xuanshuang had severe senile dementia, and sometimes, she would even mistake her husband, Qing Qingren, and only remember her 2 granddaughters in her heart. Grandma's words were like a few sharp swords that pierced Long Outyin's heart. "My grandson-in-law is sitting right in front of you, and you're actually asking where he is." However, Grandma's Alzheimer's disease was too serious. She couldn't cure it immediately and had to be nursed slowly. "You're lying. You didn't see it at all. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Long Outyin almost turned into a porcupine. Mom, Qingya's fiancé is sitting right in front of you. Wang Muqing said while supporting her mother. Impossible, my grandson-in-law isn't as ugly as him. Mei Xuanchuang pursed her lips and said with disdain. Long Outyan's face turned green. What was going on today? He was the main character today. This must be a test from the heavens. I can't be angry, smile, smile. Mei Xuanchuang couldn't stand it anymore. Who are you? Why are you smiling so ugly? Pfft, Qing Yutong let out a series of tender laughter. Grandma is truly formidable, killing people without spilling blood. Zihan glared at her daughter. She was still laughing at this time. Qing Qingren said embarrassedly, Outyin, don't mind it, you also know about my wife's illness. Long Outyin forced a smile and said, Grandpa Qing, don't worry, I'll definitely cure Grandma. Qing Qingren was very gratified. With such a grandson-in-law, he could also feel a lot more at ease. Qing Yutong could be seen arriving behind her grandmother, then said tenderly, Grandmother, I just saw big sister's man, he is extremely handsome. Really? Mei Xuanchuang asked happily like a child. Of course, when did Yutong ever lie to you? Mei Xuanchuang said joyfully, that's great, Yutong, when are you two going to give birth to a little grandson for Grandma? Everyone immediately became silent, even Wang Muqing also laughed for a bit. Brother-in-law has to be willing first. Qing Yutong said straightforwardly, causing everyone to be dumbstruck once again, especially Long Outyin. What the hell? What kind of plot is this? Qing Huaxian shouted coldly, Qing Yutong. What are you saying? Look at your current moral conduct. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have allowed you to mingle in the entertainment circle. Qing Yutong spread out her hands and said disapprovingly, Dad, since you can marry too, why can't other people marry too? Scoundrel. Say it one more time. Qing Huaxian was so angry that his face turned red. Towards him having 2 wives and 2 daughters, the number of times he returned home in a year could be counted with one hand. Yutong, your dad is already angry, speak less. Zihan reprimanded her daughter, this kind of scene would happen every time they met. Long Outyin felt that what Qing Yutong said was right, a man with ability should have 3 wives and 4 concubines, isn't father-in-law the same as well? Qing Qingren shouted gravely, speak less. This time, I asked you two to come back for a meal, I should be happy, and not to listen to you two quarrel. Every family has their own difficulties, Qing family was the same as well. Outyin, don't take offense. Qing Qingren said to Long Outyin with a smile. This child is much more sensible now. I can understand, I can understand. Long Outyin said humbly. Only a man understands a man, to obtain a favorable impression from Qing Huaxian. If Qing Huaxian were to know that this Long Outyin was having ideas on his 2 daughters, who knows if he would still have such thoughts. Qing Yutong muttered in a low voice, men are all the same. Chapter 22. Don't worry, Grandpa Qing. I know what I'm doing. Long Outyin said generously. It seemed like he didn't take it to heart at all. Qing Qingren laughed out loud and said, as expected of the old dragon's grandson, impressive. Qingya, look at Outyin, look at how sensible he is. You are the only one who is playing tricks. Wang Muqing reprimanded. Zihan also followed up and said, that's right, Qingya, Outyin is such a good child, why don't you feel anything? As Qingya's father, Qing Huaxian was already angered to the point that he was speechless. As long as I see my 2 daughters, my heart disease will definitely come out. Luckily, Long Outyin cured my heart disease. Qingya didn't seem to intend to reveal her little king and big king, and while looking at her little sister, she said with a smile, it just so happens that little sister has returned. Grandpa, how about letting little sister marry Long Outyin? Qin Yutong went into a daze, and her pretty face immediately became one of grievance. As expected of a movie empress. Sis, you can't do this. You jumped out of the fire pit, and you let your sister jump into it. Why don't we swap? Give me brother-in-law, and you can be with Long Outyin. Long Outyin almost vomited blood. You! How dare you humiliate me like this? This is unforgivable. Enough. Qing Huaxian slammed onto the table and shouted. Family scandal. A family scandal. Huaxian. The two wives called out worriedly. At this moment, Mei Xuanshuang walked over to Yi Hua's side with her walking stick and said in satisfaction, Young man, you are really handsome, you have to treat Qingya well in the future. Mei Xuanshuang pulled Qing Yutong who was at the side over to Yi Hua, then placed Qing Yutong's tender and small hands onto Yi Hua's big hands. You two live well, Grandma has high hopes for you too. There was complete silence. Long Outyan's face started to turn pale. This man did not even say a single word the moment he entered the room. Instead, he held the hands of his two future wives. This was unacceptable. No. This man wanted her to act cool. There would definitely be a turn for the better later. He must have exposed his plot, and then they would look at him in a different light, and from there, walk to the top. Mu Qing, help Mom into the room to rest. Qing Huaxian could not take it anymore, things are getting more and more messy. Wang Muqing and Zishuan immediately supported their old mother and left, while Mei Xuanshuang kept reminding them, you must live well, Grandma will come back later. Qingya looked at Yi Hua and her little sister very unhappily and said in a low voice, What are you two doing? Hurry up and let go. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth, Grandma did it, not me. The human world is truly very complicated, what kind of matter can't be solved with force? On the other hand, this sister-in-law of his was rather interesting. Yi Hua asked faintly, What do you mean by drawing circles on my palm just now? Right now, even Qingya was stupefied. Not only Qingya, even Qing Yutong was stupefied. He actually said it. She just wanted to tease this brother-in-law and let her sister know that men couldn't resist temptation. In the end, this man didn't play by the rules and instantly betrayed her. Long Outyan's face turned from white to red. He thought to himself, there's definitely going to be a reversal. There's definitely going to be one later. Fortunately, Qing Yutong was quick-witted, and she hurriedly explained, Actually, what I wanted to ask is, when are you two getting married? And how are the preparations for the wedding rings going? You don't have to worry about that. Qingya replied faintly. How can I not worry about my sister's wedding? Don't you think so, brother-in-law? On the other hand, Qing Yutong was rather lively. Yi Hua had only seen the Qing Yutong on the screen before, she was a bit cold and aloof. I didn't expect that the contrast between the Qing Yutong and Qing Yutong in reality would be so big, causing Yi Hua to be very disappointed. Indeed, you don't have to worry about it. Yi Hua replied faintly. F***ck, this brother-in-law is really not giving me any face at all. On the other hand, Qingya felt great. Seems like Yi Hua is on my side, he can still be considered as a man. Qing Qingren coughed lightly and said, Alright, stop acting, since you are here, you are a guest, eat a meal first before leaving. Qing family was, after all, a prestigious family, they still had the necessary etiquette. Those who come are guests, as long as they don't do anything out of line, eating a meal is nothing. Furthermore, this man might have been forced here by Qingya. Qingya didn't explain anything, it seemed like she had a deeper intention, this made everyone think that Qingya had given up on resisting. However, Qing Yutong didn't think that way, she understood her big sister very well. Sometimes she is indeed very obedient, but when she is stubborn, even 10 Thanos wouldn't be able to defeat her. Since she brought this man here, she definitely has a backup plan, just that she doesn't need to use it now. Looking at everyone's reaction, they all eased up, especially Long Outyin. I suddenly feel that this man is really pitiful, being played around by Big Sister. I reckon that when Big Sister uses her big move, this Long Outyin will be carried away by 120 people. Big Sister's bad habit of acting cool still hasn't changed. Yihua also didn't want to say too much and waste the oxygen in the air. Brother-in-law, what is your zodiac sign? In order to test her big sister, Qing Yutong took the initiative to attack. Yihua sat on the sofa and put on the posture of a big boss. Hearing Qing Yutong's question, he replied faintly, childish. Qing Ye, who was sitting on the opposite of him, laughed. This man will hit you until you have nothing good in you. I didn't expect that the woman that I fancied would actually ask such a question. She is simply even more stupid than Qing Ye. And to think that I wanted to give her a knight, seems like there is no need for that anymore. Indeed, you are rather childish. Qing Ye didn't forget to hit Yihua. Qing Yutong was angered to the point that her face was completely red. After snorting, she sat at the side and didn't speak anymore. Long Outyin straightened his collar. It's my turn now. This man will become my tool to act cool. This is how all the novels come about. How much did Qing Ye spend to hire you? Long Outyin asked curiously. Qing Ye peeled a tangerine and gave half of it to her grandfather. Qing Qingren thought that his granddaughter had thought things through and took the tangerine, then said petulantly, "It's fine to just anger Outyin, don't go overboard." "Grandfather, I know what I am doing." Qing Ye smiled slightly. This made Qing Qingren feel at ease. Granddaughter is sensible. Meanwhile, Yihua was very unhappy. As my own woman, she actually peeled a fruit for another man to eat. Even if it's your grandfather. Taking out a cigarette and lighting it up, this action made Qing Qingren and Qing Huashuan's brows wrinkle. This man is a bit arrogant. Looking at how Yihua is acting cool, Long Outyin laughed. To actually put on the posture of a big boss in Qing family and even smoke, looking at Grandpa Qing and father-in-law's expression, I reckon that they want to throw him out. What did you say just now? Yihua asked faintly. Long Outyin had seen people who can act cool before, but he had never seen someone who can act cool like this. This posture of a big boss is something that even I don't dare to do in Qing family. Qing Ye hired you to anger me, right? Long Outyin asked again. A number of ways to get rid of him appeared in Yihua's mind. Do you think that you are playing house? Childish. Yihua spat out a mouthful of smoke and said faintly. Qing Ye ate the tangerine, looked at Yihua who was acting cool, and said with a smile, "Indeed, you are rather childish." Yihua looked at Qing Ye and said coldly, "I am talking about you." Chapter 23. Qing Ye's expression turned cold. This fellow wants to stir up trouble. I will endure it for now. Qing Qingren shook his head. I really can't stand this youngster's way of chatting. Huaxian, let's go out and have a chat. It's stuffy here. Okay, Dad. Qing Huaxian said unhappily, if not for my daughter bringing him here, I would have chased him out long ago. This is too presumptuous. In an instant, there were only 4 people left in the living room. Long Outyin sneered, what benefits did ya, give you to make you work so hard for her? To be honest, Yihua didn't want to answer such a stupid question, you ask her yourself. Qing Yutong went into a daze, this man is really interesting, where did Big Sister find such a weirdo? Oh, I bought him for a lifetime. Qing Ye seemed very calm, as if she bought a dog. This arrogant woman, she still wants to buy me for a lifetime. If not for the child in your stomach, I would have Long Outyin laughed sinisterly, since you all are not willing to speak, then I can only use force. Needle of telling the truth. The specialty of this needle was that it was silent, even if it was shot on one's penis, one would not be able to detect it. Furthermore, it was colorless and odorless. It was an essential medicine for running away from home. Long Outyin could be seen swinging his index and middle finger, and his silver needle pierced towards Yihua. At this moment, Yihua wanted to explode this man's head. This man actually dared to plot against me, but after thinking about it, I can't kill anyone. If I kill him, 5 years of hard work will all go to waste. But this man actually knew some tricks. This made Yihua a bit surprised. The feeling of novelty came again. The silver needle in the air suddenly reflected back, just like the bullet that night. Long Outyin didn't even know what happened, because this needle of telling the truth was not able to be felt by others. He laughed in his heart. I am going to expose your ugly face soon. There will be a day when I, Long Outyin, will have the most beautiful women in the world, including the two of you. At that time, I will set up a harem, and every night, I will flip the cards. Ha 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 ha, I am 2F** king outstanding, let me put my hands on my waist. Long Outyin said passionately, as if he was the number one in the world. Pervert. Pervert. Qing Yutong and Qing Yutong said angrily. I didn't expect this Long Outyin to be even more arrogant than Yihua, to actually want me and my sister to be a part of his harem. Go and die. Long Outyin was stupefied. What is going on with me? My mouth is not listening to me. Let me tell you, it's your fortune that I, Long Outyin, have taken a liking to all of you. I'm the little fairy doctor. Do you know what the little fairy doctor is? Long Outyin hurriedly covered his mouth. How could he reveal his biggest secret to Ling Yun? Could it be the needle of truth? That's not right. I shot it out just now. Why am I telling the truth? I can't say it anymore. He definitely couldn't say it again. His impression of him was completely gone. Who was the one playing tricks? Was it this handsome man? Impossible. Could it be that he had a problem throwing the needle? That should be the case. Qing Ye and Qing Yutong took a look at each other. There is something wrong with this man's brain. Yihua silently smoked his cigarette. Long Outyin. His name was resounding, but the person was a little silly. Long Outyin said, I'm not stupid. Qing Ye, Zhu Zi. Yihua said faintly. He was still very concerned about Zhu Zi's question. Qing Ye said in disdain, don't you have hands? Brother-in-law, do you want to eat oranges? Let me help you peel them. Qing Yutong deftly picked up the orange and started planning something in her mind. Qing Ye snorted coldly. She looked as if she didn't mind, but her eyes kept drifting away. Long Outyin covered his mouth. He wanted to say something, but he was afraid that he would say something carelessly again. Brother-in-law, here an international superstar personally peeled an orange, TSK TSK TSK, it can definitely be sold for a sky-high price. And looking at her big sister's expression, Qing Yutong seemed to feel that there was something fishy going on between the two of them. Learn more. Yihua took over the orange and said to Qing Ye. Big sister, did you hear that? Learn more. Long Outyin couldn't take it anymore. Enough. Hi, Long Outyin, am the main character, all of you are mine. Mine. At this time, Qing Qingren and Qing Huaxian walked in and asked gravely, what's going on? What is mine? Qing Yutong's eyes could be seen turning red. She stood up and pounced into her grandfather's embrace and said with grievance, Grandfather, this Long Outyin is still not satisfied with big sister and still wants Yutong to be his woman. Woo, he is too much of a bully. Qing Ye smiled. This little sister is still the same as when she was young. She still likes to play tricks on people. Yihua silently looked at Qing Yutong's performance. Is this little Long Outyin worth shedding tears for? Childish. Outyin, what's going on? Seeing that his daughter was so wronged, as the father, Qing Huaxian immediately questioned. Long Outyin, woo. Qing Qingren also felt that the Long Outyin today was very strange and said gravely, Outyin, how can you speak when you are covering your mouth? Stupid. Qingye said coldly. Long Outyan's eyes were completely bloodshot. Why did it become like this? Shouldn't I be the one to beat down this pretentious man and then obtain the elders' applause and the beauty's admiration? Why did everything change? That's not it. Long Outyan shouted out. Seems like the effect is already over. Just what is going on? Qing Qingren asked gravely. Although Long Outyan was indeed a pretty good young man, if his moral character was bad, I still have to reconsider. Long Outyan hurriedly explained, Grandpa Qing, it's not what you think, we were just joking just now, I'm really sorry, Yutong took it seriously. Qingye crossed her arms in front of her chest and sneered, I dare to say it, but I don't dare to admit it. That's right. Qing Yutong agreed. These two women were currently facing a common enemy, and thus temporarily formed an alliance. Long Outyan suddenly had a bright idea and said apologetically, I was wrong, I admit my mistake. Qing Qingren and Qing Huaxian more or less understood the situation, seems like it was these two girls who were causing trouble again. All right, the meal is about to start. Qing Qingren smiled benevolently. In actuality, he was still very fond of this grandson-in-law of his. Qingye stood up and did not say anything, while Qing Yutong looked at her big sister and felt that there would definitely be a good show to watch later on. Long Outyan stared at Yihua. This man is too ruthless, I wonder where Qingye found this actor from. This Demon King's aura is quite good, just by sitting there and smoking, I feel that it is very pretentious. Perhaps, I can also imitate it a bit. Qingye held onto Yihua's arm and walked towards the dining hall with the others. This action made the elders very unhappy, and Long Outyan almost wanted to throw out another, tell the truth needle. I have never enjoyed this kind of treatment before, and that man actually has such an indifferent appearance, he is too good at acting. If it wasn't for me not having mastered throwing needles, today would be your doomsday. Chapter 24. Yihua casually sized up the book. This is a bit interesting, he actually bought a fake book. Qingye also saw the painting. This painting was exactly the same as the painting that was hung in Yihua's bedroom, it was Picasso's, Boy with a Tobacco Pipe. Long Outyan chuckled. It was finally his turn. Grandpa Qing was so nice, creating an opportunity for him to act cool. Long Outyan observed the oil painting carefully and exclaimed, could this be Picasso's work? Proud heaven really is amazing. Qing Qingren was very satisfied, and when he sneaked a glance at his eldest granddaughter, he discovered that she did not have any reaction at all. Long Outyan continued, this painting was created in 1905, and it was one of Picasso's masterpieces from the Rose period. It was even praised by critics as being as mysterious as Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. In the end, it was auctioned in London for a whopping $100 million. Qing Huaxian smiled. Son-in-law is also a person who has seen a lot of things. Qing Qingren smiled to the point that his eyes had narrowed into a slit, and praised, seems like Outyan's understanding towards oil painting is very deep, it is very rare for youngsters nowadays to have this kind of ability. Long Outyan felt extremely good, as if he could already see the two beautiful sisters looking at him with worship in their eyes. I don't deserve to be called Outyan, I only know a little about it. However, paintings like this are getting more and more expensive nowadays, I wonder how much Grandpa Qing paid for it. Not much, just 150 million. Long Outyan was shocked in his heart. This Qing family is too rich, isn't it? A painting that is worth more than 100 million is hung in the hallway, doesn't that mean that I will be lying in a pile of money in the future? Just thinking about it made him excited. Looking at that man's dumbfounded expression, it was likely that he had never seen something so expensive before. Mr. Yi, what do you think? Long Outyan asked with a smile. Evidently, he wanted to make a fool of Yihua. I reckon that Yihua has never seen such a painting before, right? If Yihua is unable to say anything about it, he would be losing a lot of face. Qingye went into a daze, thinking to herself, Yihua wouldn't be lying, right? It's fake. After Yihua finished speaking, everyone went into a daze, including Qingye and Qing Yutong. Long Outyan was secretly delighted. Keep up the act. You've gone overboard, saying it's fake, ahaha. Yihua, don't speak nonsense. Qingye pulled onto the corner of Yihua's shirt and said in a low voice. Grandpa himself loves to collect famous paintings, and yet, you actually said that those paintings are fake. Grandpa will be very unhappy. This is not a good thing for Grandpa in the future. It must be said that Qingye had already thought very far ahead. Right now, we are already husband and wife, and we even have a child. Could it be that in the future, we are really going to divorce and let our child become a single-parent family? Qingye can't bear to let our child grow up in this kind of environment. Perhaps, it's fine if I suffer a bit of loss myself. In any case, I also need to find a husband. Although Yihua likes to be a big boss, his heart is still considered to be good. He donated until he only has 2 RMB left. Mr. Yi, why do you say that? Long Outyan asked hurriedly, because Qing Qingren's face had already darkened. Yihua really wanted to send this ant flying with a slap. Truly long-winded. However, I can't make a move. Later on, I'll let Lai Gu or Wei Chang do it. If I make a move myself, the consequences will be unimaginable. Yihua was too lazy to explain, Qingye knows. Everyone looked towards the adorable Qingye. Qingye was having a headache. To actually drag me down with him, I have never seen such a bad man before. Big sister, you also think that this is fake? Qing Yutong asked curiously. Qingye knew that her little sister was going to hit her when she was down, and the friendship that was just formed immediately collapsed. There is also a painting hanging in Yihua's bedroom. At this time, I can only help Yihua. Could it be that I still have to say that Yihua is in the wrong? Yihua was a bit surprised. When this woman saw the painting in my bedroom, she did not have this kind of expression. However, looking at her current expression, it is still not bad, it has a bit of flavor. Long Outyan laughed, Qing Qingren and Qing Huaxian also laughed, shook their heads and did not say anything, then continued walking towards the dining hall. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. Big sister's condition today is a bit problematic. Isn't she being too protective of that man? Wrong. Bedroom. Big sister has been to this man's bedroom before. My God. Qingye slowed down her footsteps and said in a low voice, Yihua, later on when we are eating, I beg you to not speak carelessly. Can you listen to me? Ignorant woman. Promise me a condition. Yihua said indifferently. You. Qingye's lungs were about to explode from anger, to actually raise a condition with me. Speak. Qingye, who had no other choice, decided to admit defeat for the time being. After listening to Yihua's condition, Qingye scolded Yihua for being shameless to the extreme, to actually ask me to do that kind of thing. Bastard, give me an inch and take a foot. Enduring the pain in her heart, Qingye said coldly, all right, I promise you, if you dare to speak carelessly again, relax, I will do what I said. As if I would believe you. Qing family's dining hall was also extraordinarily big. The people who were cooking were all top chefs in the country, and there were even maids serving at the side. This was simply the life of an emperor. Yihua was a bit rueful, thinking back then, I also lived like this. I didn't expect that the more I live, whether I am advancing or retreating, I am already unclear. This utensil is even a product from Europe, and looking at the design, it is even a product of the royal family. This Qing family is indeed rich to a certain extent. Wang Muqing and Zihan supported the old lady Mei Xuanshuang and walked out, and upon seeing Yihua, Mei Xuanshuang could be seen shouting, grandson-in-law, when are you going to have a child with Yutong? Grandma is still waiting to carry a great-grandson. Yi Hua did not speak. If that woman wants to obtain my bloodline, she has to go and train her temperament again. Not every woman is able to obtain my favor. Qingye being able to get pregnant is just an accident. Grandma, he is my brother-in-law. Even Qing Yutong was a bit unable to take it anymore, let alone the others. Qing Yutong could only smile awkwardly. The old lady's illness was just like that. Qing Qingren sat on the main seat and said with a smile, "Everyone, sit down and eat." Yi Hua thought back in his mind, how many years has it been since I sat on a lower seat? I didn't expect that it was all because of this stupid woman. If this scene were to be spread out, it would be terrible. At that time, I can only kill her to silence her. Without a doubt, Qingye sat beside Yi Hua, to prevent Yi Hua from speaking nonsense. This man is truly a man that makes others worry. Meanwhile, Qing Yutong sat at the other side of Yi Hua. This brother-in-law is really interesting. I feel that he has big sister in his grasp. Long Outyan sat opposite of Yi Hua and Qingye, and his expression was a bit bad. Why is that man able to have beautiful women on his left and right, and yet, there isn't any at my side? Wang Muqing could tell that Long Outyan was in a bad mood, thus she glared at her daughter and said, "Qingye, accompany Outyan and sit." "Mom, I am a woman with a husband, how can I sit together with another man? Yi Hua will get angry." Qingye said calmly. Qing Huaxian shouted out gravely, "Enough. Even if you are acting, there must be a limit." Qingye pouted her mouth, did not explain, did not get up either. In any case, she just did not move. Chapter 25. Yutong, how long do you plan to stay this time? Zihan asked concernedly. Her daughter was not at home for a long time, she missed her a lot. Qing Yutong spread out her hands. "I have already gotten the Oscar, I don't have any more pursuits, I have decided to retire and enjoy life." Qing Huaxian was very gratified. "You should have done this long ago, come to Dad's company." "I don't want to go, even if I am going to go, I want to go to Big Sister's company. What do you think, Big Sister?" Qing Yutong really planned to retire from the entertainment circle this time. She was a woman who liked challenges. The moment she got the Oscar, she decided to retire from the entertainment circle. "Up to you," Qingye said indifferently. Long Outyan felt that his chance had come. Qing Yutong would definitely be one of his harem. Upon thinking that he would be able to sleep with the movie queen, the hair on his body all stood up. Qing Qingren suddenly thought of something and reminded, "Recently, Long and City is a bit chaotic. Yaya, Yutong, you two pay attention." "Grandpa, what's wrong? Did something happen?" Qing Yutong asked curiously. After all, she just came back today. "An international hitman died last night," Qing Qingren said unhurriedly. Qingye wrinkled her brows. "Where did he die?" "It seems to be on the building opposite of Hejiang River." "Opposite of Hejiang River, I and Yi Hua were still taking a stroll there last night." Qingye wrinkled her brows and took a look at Yi Hua. "Where does Mr. Yi work?" Qing Qingren asked. Qingye hurriedly said, "Yi Hua opened a bar by himself." Qing Yutong went into a daze. The boss of a bar, this plot is not bad. Wang Muqing and Zihan were a bit displeased. It seems like they do not have a good impression of someone who opens a bar. Why would their daughter mix around with someone who opens a bar? Long Outyan mocked. "Opening a bar is not bad, it has a bright future. There must be a lot of beauties at the bar, right?" Yi Hua decided, "I must definitely slap this fly to death." Long Outyan, don't think that I don't know what you are doing in the company. What is going on between you and the director of HR? Qingye questioned coldly. Long Outyan was startled. How did she know about this matter? "I indeed have an affair with the director of HR, that woman is indeed very charming, and speaking about me, I also conquered her with my charm." Qingye, you misunderstood, it's nothing. Long Outyan hurriedly explained, "I'm sure that she found out that I went to her house." Qingye sneered and said to her family, "This is the person that you all fancied." Not even a week after coming to the company, and he already had an affair with the HR department's director. You are truly capable to be able to swindle the HR department's director even though you are just a security guard. You are truly worthy of being called the fairy doctor, hugging a beauty with both hands. The gazes of the Qing family were all focused on Long Outyen, as if they wanted to verify whether this matter was true or not. Qingya, you've misunderstood. Ai Bihan is a single mother, what's wrong with me helping her? Isn't the slogan of the company uniting as one? I didn't expect it to cause such a misunderstanding. I don't care about it as a man, but what will others think of Ai Bihan? Isn't this forcing her to resign? Long Outyen's words were very impassioned and passionate. Portraying himself as a super good man and saying that Qingya was an unreasonable person, Long Outyen still had brains. Qingya, how can you treat your subordinates like this? Qing Huaxian said unhappily. Qing Group and Qingya's Qing City International were separated, but Qing Huaxian had been taught since young that one must treat one's subordinates well, only then would he be able to repay you. Qingya was a smart woman, since she couldn't take out any evidence right now, everything she said would be in vain. Qingya was even more certain that she was being unreasonable. Big sister, Long Outyen is really playing dirty tricks right under your nose. He is too arrogant. Qing Yutong felt injustice for her big sister, but who knows if what she said was true or false. Qing Yutong's mother, Zi Han reminded, Yutong, speak less. Qing Qingren seemed to be a bit irritated, all right, speak less and eat, serve the dishes. Yi Hua, on the other hand, had an indifferent look on his face. He was not interested in this kind of small matter at all, but he was a bit curious about the following dishes. Delicious dishes were served one after another, and with a single glance, Yi Hua took a fancy to that bowl of crayfish. Qingya was immediately startled. I feel that this fellow is going to put on airs again, and immediately said in a low voice, I'll help you get it. And that crab? Yi Hua said indifferently. Qingya was angered to the point of laughing. Just you wait, one day, I will definitely take revenge on you. The following scene made everyone's jaws drop. Qingya, this strong woman, actually didn't eat the crayfish herself, and instead helped this man to eat the crayfish first, and she even had a smile on her face. Is this still the Qingya from before? Qing Qingren was stupefied, Qing Huaxian was stupefied, Wang Muqing was dumbfounded, Zi Han was stupefied, Qing Yutong had a face full of shock, and on the other hand, old lady Mei Xuanshuang had a face full of smiles. Long Outyen held on to the chopsticks, and the veins on the back of his hand bulged out by a bit. What right does this man have to let Qingya peel the crayfish for him, and furthermore, he doesn't even have a bit of gratitude in his heart, as if it is something that should be done. Qing Qingren felt that something was wrong. If it was an actor that was hired by his granddaughter, he definitely wouldn't act like this. Jiu Ye's forthright voice sounded from the phone. So it is little brother Outyen, you don't say. After I used the prescription that you gave me, it is not a problem for me to come 3 times in one night. It is as if I have become the young lad from that year. Lord Joe, I have an even better prescription here. Lord Joe, if you take it, you'll be fine for the whole night. I guarantee that the ladies will beg for mercy, Long Outyen said with a grin. Oh. Little brother Outyen, you are not kind and honest, to only tell Jiu Yi now. Jiu Yi misunderstood. I only found out about this prescription recently. How smart was Lord Joe? He knew that this youngster wanted him to do something for him. Speak, what is it? Lord Joe, I want to ask you to help me. Hearing Long Outyen's narration, it seems like he wants me to send people to rob the other party, and then he will come out to save the other party. Small matter. Thank you Lord Joe, I will send you the car plate number later. The location is at the Fork Road in the northern suburbs. Long Outyen twisted his neck. I have to move my muscles and bones later. Alright, leave it to Lord Joe. After hanging up the phone, Long Outyen looked towards Yi Hua and Qingya who came out and clenched his fists tightly. I, Long Outyin, will not let down this name of mine. When I become strong, it will be the anniversary of your death. On the other side, Lord Biyao made a call to his underling, ask some people to go down and put on a show later. Lord Biyao, what show? Hero saving the beauty, I will send the car plate number and address to you later. Lord Biyao said. Which hero is who, so that we can go easy on him? Lord Biyao went into a daze, a youngster who looks like he has a lot of temperament, and is also a bit handsome. Alright Lord Biyao, temperament, handsome, understood. The show has to be realistic, do you understand? Lord Biyao, don't worry, I guarantee that other people will not be able to tell. After hanging up the phone, the underling immediately gathered tens of people and headed towards the northern suburbs. In the manner, Yihua looked at the stubborn Qinya, and his tone became a bit gentler, I guess. You don't need to care. Qinya, who was currently in a fit of anger, her tone became a bit heavy, causing Yihua to be very angry. I can't give this woman any face at all. Yihua couldn't be bothered to care, you just have to obediently give birth to a child for me. Sitting in the front passenger seat, Yihua said, drive, let's go back. Qinya glared at Yihua, seemingly saying, it's fine if other people bully me, but even you want to hit me when I'm down too. Big sister, brother-in-law, wait for me. Qing Yutong could be seen dragging her luggage and waving her hand towards Yihua's direction. Qinya sighed, if I had known earlier, I would have listened to Yihua's words and drove away. What are you trying to do? Qinya asked gravely. Qing Yutong spread out her hands, what else can I do? Of course I'm going to stay with you, big sister. Qinya's brows wrinkled, isn't it good to stay at Grandpa and Grandma's place? If you are not used to staying here, big sister can go to a hotel and get a room for you, or buy a house for you. Big sister, it has been a long time since we last stayed together, do a good deed and take this little sister in. Qing Yutong shook her big sister's arm and entered into an endless coquettish mode. Qinya wouldn't fall for it, I was cheated countless times when I was young. I will give you a call to arrange it. Seeing that her big sister was useless, Qing Yutong immediately begged Yihua, who was smoking at the side, brother-in-law, just say some good words please. Isn't it just an extra bed, what are you being so long-winded about? Yihua said impatiently, this small matter also needs to be long-winded. Qinya was instantly stupefied, an extra bed. Do you think that it is such a simple matter as an extra pair of chopsticks? Qing Yutong immediately threw the luggage into the trunk of the car, then sat at the back seat, fastened her seatbelt, and obediently waited. That sitting posture of hers was simply the model representative of a good student. I originally thought that the retirement would be very boring, but in the end, I found out that big sister actually had a child with a man and even got married. There is nothing more interesting than this. Is this the distortion of human nature or the degeneration of morals in this matter? The two of you get off, this is my car. Qinya, who was flustered and exasperated, was already speaking incoherently. Yihua said indifferently, not getting off. Brother-in-law is not getting off, I am also not getting off. Qing Yutong said pitifully, the title of Best Actress is not for show. Chapter 27. However, Yihua and Qing Yutong were very calm and collected, and were not afraid at all. Long Outyin, who was at the back, hurriedly drove his car, and he didn't expect that Qing Yutong did not drive his own car. The plan has changed, it seems like it is too late to inform Qing Yutong now. Yihua, who was in the car, said, remember what you promised me tonight. Without waiting for Qinya to reply, Qing Yutong, who was at the back, asked curiously, brother-in-law, what matter did big sister promise you that we can only do it at night? Wow, the two of you are so romantic. Qinya's face darkened and did not say anything. Yihua said lightly, you will know when the time comes. Oh my god, can you even show it to people? You guys are so open-minded. The two of you, enough. Qingye couldn't help but shout out. Suddenly, Qing Yutong cried out in surprise, "Big sister! There's someone ahead!" Zzzzzzz, the tires left 2 tire marks on the ground. If it wasn't an Audi, the idiot in front of him would have been sent flying. "Oh, my forehead." Qing Yutong touched onto her head. Yi Hua's face was cold as he shouted, "Don't you know how to drive properly?" "I won't." "Bite me. Stupid woman." Qing Yutong, who was at the back, was observing the fight between brother-in-law and big sister. "This is too interesting." There were more than 10 big men standing outside, and the atmosphere was a little awkward. Did the people in the car not notice anything wrong? Highway robbery. Give me some face, okay? That's right, at the critical moment just now, this little brother received the latest report. The Ferrari had been changed to an Audi A8. One of the lackeys knocked on the window of the car, and Qing Yutong had a frustrated look on her face as she lowered the window and said, "Don't be noisy, I am watching my brother-in-law and big sister quarrel." However, as soon as the window was opened, they could hear the sound of quarreling coming from inside. "You asked Yutong to move in. Do you have any thoughts about her?" "So what if I do? Didn't you say you were going to give me condoms?" Hearing that, Qing Yutong was dumbstruck. "Big sister, brother-in-law, you two are too bad, quickly let me off the bus, this is not the bus that is going to the kindergarten." "Shut up." Qingye turned around and shouted angrily. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. "Big sister, you are going to give me and brother-in-law condoms, you are so perverted, scram." Qingye felt that she was going to explode. However, more than 10 men outside were listening with great interest. The people in the car were all hardcore. Elder sister, brother-in-law, and sister-in-law. This relationship was too messy. The world of the rich was really hard to understand. Long Outyin watched from afar. He noticed that the dozen or so men were surrounding the car, but they did not make a move. It was as if they were listening to something. After waiting for a long time, they became more and more excited. "You guys are here to work, not to listen to family gossip. How dare you? What are you doing in broad daylight?" Long Outyin appeared in a dazzling manner. His aura was magnificent, and his whole body was emitting a wave of positive energy. The dozen or so burly men glanced at each other and then looked at the man in the car. After comparison, they still felt that the man in the car was more elegant and handsome. It was just that he was a busybody. "You guys go and deal with him, don't let any Tom, Dick or Harry come here, I have never heard such an interesting quarrel before." As the big brother, he ordered the 3 of them to go and deal with Long Outyin. As for the 3 of them, they were reluctant to leave. It was all this damned man's fault. Why did he suddenly appear? Long Outyin wrinkled his brows. Why haven't the people in the car come down yet? If that's the case, what's the point of fighting? Brothers, what's going on with you guys, why aren't you letting the people in the car come down? Long Outyin reminded in a low voice. Get down. One of the burly men raised his fist and punched over. Long Outyin easily dodged to the side and grabbed onto the burly man's arm, then hurriedly said, Brothers, I am the one who hired you guys. Boss, save me. The burly man shouted for help. We have met with a troublesome person. Seeing the situation, the boss became angry. To actually spoil my plan, brothers, go. The dozen or so burly men picked up their clubs and ran madly, and Yi Hua, who was in the car, was also too lazy to quarrel with Qingye. He got off the car to take a breath of fresh air and smoke a cigarette. You guys, quickly look over there, there is a fight. Qing Yutong cried out in surprise. Qingye snorted coldly. Of course I saw it. Isn't that little brother Long Outyin? He seems to be very powerful. Qing Yutong looked around, and her mouth didn't stop moving. Long Outyin noticed the situation at this side and finally got off the car. Furthermore, after getting Qing Yutong's attention, he immediately shouted out, "Yutong, quickly leave this place to me." "What are you saying? I can't hear you," Qing Yutong shouted out. "I said, leave these scoundrels to me, quickly leave this place, aw." Long Outyin was distracted, and a fist came flying over. "I say, brother, we are just putting on a show, there is no need to be so ruthless, right?" The boss shouted out, "Who is putting on a show with you? Beat him to death." "You guys. Don't blame me for being impolite then." A powerful aura could be seen bursting out from Long Outyin's body, and with every punch, he looked like a god that had descended to the mortal world. "Brothers, this idea is a bit ruthless, take out your weapons." The boss finally spoke, and 2 or 3 burly men could be seen taking out their AKs from the car and shooting randomly at Long Outyin. Long Outyin turned pale with fright. "If my dragon god technique was trained to the pinnacle, I wouldn't even be afraid of missiles, but right now, I have only just started, I still can't take bullets, I can only dodge." Yihua flicked away the cigarette but in his hand, not interested to continue watching. Sitting in the car, Qingye didn't want to watch anymore, this show is too terrible. "Long Outyin, go for it. You can do it." Qing Yutong waved her hand and sat in the back seat, then the 3 of them drove away. Long Outyin was in despair. "You guys should at least call the police for me. Luckily I made 2 ground escape talismans, if not I would have died here today. I didn't expect that I, Long Outyin, would have such a day. I have really ruined the name of Fairy Doctor. I am an expert that treats people with my left hand and kills people with my right hand, just that I have not matured yet." Ground escape talisman. Long Outyin, who was still dodging left and right just a moment ago, suddenly disappeared. The group of burly men were all stupefied. What is going on? The plan was ruined by this brat. I will definitely be scolded by Jiao Yi when I return, damn passerby A. Long Outyin, who had just finished using the ground escape talisman, let out a sigh of relief. Looking at the surrounding environment, it's hazy, what a big fog, I can't have arrived at that mountain right. "Ah! Who are you?" Hearing a tender shout, Long Outyin was immediately startled. "So this is the bathroom, seems like my, Long Outyin's, luck with women is still normal. I am Long Outyin, may I know this lady's name?" The woman was stupefied. "Lady, I saw that your face was red just now, and now it is gradually turning pale. This is the symptom of your body being weak. If you don't mind, I can personally check your pulse." Scram! The woman let out a tender shout. Long Outyin straightened his bangs. The plot is always the same, on the other side. Chapter 28. Very quickly, Qingye stopped the car at the side of the bar. Without paying attention to anyone, Qingye directly opened the door, got off the car and walked into the bar. After Yihua got off the car, he lit up a cigarette and prepared to enter the house. Qing Yutong hurriedly shouted, "Brother-in-law, my luggage is very heavy, can you help me a bit?" "I can't." Yihua took a deep breath and said faintly. Without even turning his head back, he walked into leisure bar, leaving behind the silly Qing Yutong. "This brother-in-law of mine is too awesome, he doesn't play by the rules." While carrying her luggage, Qing Yutong walked into leisure bar, and seeing that Yihua was mixing a drink at the bar counter, she didn't care about her luggage anymore, sat on the high chair, and asked with a curious look on her face, "Brother-in-law, I want a drink." "Take it yourself." "I want to drink this cup of yours." Qing Yutong pointed at the wine that Yihua had concocted in his hand and said. Yihua pushed out the bright red wine in his hand. "I have drugged this wine, if you aren't afraid, you can drink it." "TSK, you are speaking as if I will believe you," Qing Yutong said in disdain, then picked up the wine cup and raised her head. Then, she took a glance at Yihua. This fellow couldn't have really drugged me, right? I'm a virgin, they must definitely be working together. No wonder big sister said that she would send condoms over. Forget it, I don't want to drink anymore. Qing Yutong said with a slight smile. Yi Hua laughed lightly. This Qing Yutong's courage is too small, she isn't even as big as Qing Ya's. Picking up the wine cup, Yi Hua drank the wine in one gulp. Comfortable. He felt much better. Qing Yutong discovered that she was deceived, and a feeling of defeat arose in her heart. Thinking about how I am also an international celebrity, and furthermore, I am an Oscar Best Actress. She was actually fooled by a handsome guy, what a shame. The paintings here are really beautiful. Qing Yutong immediately changed the topic to avoid being ridiculed. Ever since I met brother-in-law, I have been ridiculed countless of times. You want it? Take anything you want. Yi Hua said faintly. Qing Yutong clicked her tongue, I don't want to strangle you, it's all fake. Women are just childish and stupid. After placing down the wine cup, Yi Hua walked upstairs, because there was a matter that he wanted Lai Gu or Wei Chang to go and deal with. Brother-in-law, where do I sleep? Qing Yutong shouted anxiously. Whatever. Qing Yutong scratched her hair. This brother-in-law of mine is really not bad, he is still so calm when facing my enticement. I have to go and ask big sister, how did she meet this weirdo brother-in-law? Arriving at the office, Yi Hua did not turn on the television, instead, he contacted Lai Gu and Wei Chang. A human and a dog instantly appeared in the office. Just that, Lai Gu was letting out panting sounds, seemingly like he was working on something. Yi Hua was truly unable to watch on anymore. Is this dragon in heat? With a wave of his hand, Lai Gu disappeared. Out of sight, out of mind. Your Honor, Lai Gu is becoming more and more like a dog. Wei Chang smiled respectfully. Yi Hua waved his hand, let's not talk about it first. Today, I met a person who made me unhappy, you go and deal with him. Wei Chang was very puzzled. To be able to make his honor angry, it seems like only the madam is capable of doing that. Could it be that his honor has lost his humanity again? This was a big matter, and he had to persuade him properly. Your Honor, madam still doesn't know of your identity, and thus, she spoke a bit rashly. Your Honor, you should forgive her, only then will she be able to show her humanity. Wei Chang persuaded in a low voice. What are you talking about? Yi Hua asked coldly. Wei Chang went into a daze. Didn't your Honor tell me to go and deal with madam? Yi Hua was angered to the point of laughing. Holding on to his forehead, he said, Wei Chang, Wei Chang, why is it that after so many years, you are still brainless? Although I told you to go and get rid of the assassin organization, don't you know that there is another way to solve this problem? Control them and make them work for us. Every time I ask you to do something, you always kill all of them. Don't you know that you left one of them as a puppet? Wei Chang had a frightened look on his face as he immediately knelt down. Your Honor, subordinate is slow-witted. It's like this every time. Yi Hua was speechless. If we were a bit smarter, we wouldn't have been wiped out by the assassin organization back then. Wei Chang lowered his head and remained silent. Using the old method, as long as I don't speak, His Honor's anger will disappear. This person is Qing Ya's fiancé, his name is Long Outyin. His strength is very weak, and he calls himself something like Fairy Doctor. Yi Hua said helplessly, in case he was really stupid enough to go and get rid of Qing Ya. Congratulations, Your Honor, congratulations, Your Honor. Wei Chang suddenly had a happy look on his face as he shouted out. This caused Yi Hua to be puzzled. What are you congratulating me for? Congratulations to Your Honor for obtaining another humanity. Oh. What? Yi Hua asked curiously. Jealousy. Hearing that, Yi Hua went into a daze, then his entire face darkened. Scram, idiot. All of you are a bunch of idiots. Wei Chang didn't have the slightest bit of fear on his face. His honor's reaction right now is exactly the same as the black-bellied male lead in those television dramas. With a smile on his face, Wei Chang disappeared within the black void. It is a good thing that his honor has humanity. After calming down, Yihua turned on the television. Only the Calabash brothers saving Grandpa can make my heart calm down. Damn it. Why are there a bunch of idiots around me? It's fine if my subordinates are idiots, but my women are also idiots as well. If not forget it. Endure it. Wei Chang, who disappeared, appeared in his rented apartment. There wasn't any luxurious furniture in the apartment, on the contrary, the apartment was very ordinary. In Longtan City, this kind of apartment only costs 1,000 RMB per month. Of course, the apartment was furnished along with the furniture. There were 2 bedrooms and 1 living room in the apartment, and the decoration was also very ordinary. As one of the 7 sins, Wei Chang seemed to be very low profile. Wei Chang let out a breath, then summoned out evil spirit Death Mage. Master. Death Mage respectfully knelt on the ground and waited for Wei Chang's orders. Wei Chang poured a cup of water and burped, "Go and kill a person called Long Outyin. I will solemnly obey Master's orders." Death Mage respectfully accepted the order, then immediately disappeared from the room, as if he had never appeared before. However, when Death Mage appeared once again, he was practically blinding. This was a small villa that was luxuriously decorated. Expensive furniture could be seen everywhere. With just a look, one could tell that this was the home of a nouveau riche. Death Mage placed the side that was in his hand at the side and took out a few bottles of beer from the fridge. After taking the beer, Death Mage sat on the sofa and turned on the television. There wasn't any Calabash brothers on the television, but the ball went in. 3-2. Real Madrid took the lead. Listening to the excited commentary on the television, Death Mage let out a strange laughter, which couldn't help but make one's hair stand on end. Suddenly remembering that he still had important matters to attend to, Death Mage stretched out his hand and shouted faintly, "Death Assassin." A person could be seen walking out from the void. The person's appearance couldn't be seen, it was very strange. "Master. Go and kill a man called Long Outyin. If you don't have any information, look for him yourself." Death Mage said silently, then opened a bottle of beer and started drinking. Just that, the beer passed through the skeleton and dripped onto the sofa, but Death Mage felt very refreshed and even burped. Death Assassin said respectfully, "Yes." Chapter 29. That's right. Every time he did something, Wei Chang would summon Death Mage, and when Death Mage found out that the opponent was too weak, he would simply summon a lackey to kill the opponent. And every time he killed the opponent, the master did not ask for money, so Wei Chang would not be polite and kept all the cash. Right now, he was living in a villa, and as long as he got some fresh air, he would sit here and watch the match, and let his lackey do the work. Just that, watching the match would also make him very angry. If the team that he liked were to lose, he would really want to burn the team with fire. Just that, the target this time was not an ordinary person, but the fairy Dr. Long Outyin. He was the kind of person who treated people with his left hand and killed people with his right hand. Not sure if a single death assassin would be able to deal with him. Furthermore, without any information, how am I supposed to find him? Then you are underestimating Death Assassin too much. There were a few times when there was no information, but Death Assassin still found the target and made the target die from an accident or some other reason. In any case, no one would be able to tell that it was a murder, it was simply invincible. Wei Chang also did not expect that the lackey that he summoned would actually also summon his lackey to do things, too lazy. Yihua also definitely did not expect that his lackey would summon his lackey to do things. Do you all have to be so lazy? Who did you all learn this bad habit from? Unknowingly, the sun gradually set. Yihua took out his phone and ordered takeout. At the same time, he was thinking, as my woman, she actually doesn't even know how to cook. Don't all human women know how to cook for men? This Qinya needs to be properly taught. I'm just afraid that during the process of teaching, I won't be able to control myself. After ordering the takeout, Yihua was also puzzled. Why did this woman suddenly become so quiet in the afternoon? Unable to hold back the curiosity in his heart, Yihua pushed open the door and walked out, then opened the bedroom door. Qinya and Qin Yutong could be seen sitting on his bed watching a movie, and on the bed, there were all kinds of snacks scattered on the blanket. Yihua, who had a serious obsession with cleanliness, immediately became furious. The veins on his forehead bulged out frighteningly. Qinya, I will give you 1 minute to clean up, and you too. Yihua pointed at the two stupid women and shouted. Actually, if it was another man, he definitely wouldn't scold them, because they looked so alluring, and they were even wearing pajamas. Qinya pouted, what are you being so fierce for? Qin Yutong pouted, this brother-in-law of mine really starts scolding whenever he doesn't agree with me, he is simply a weirdo. The two women obediently cleaned the bed, because they didn't like the bed either, and they just wanted to discuss Yihua a bit. Brother-in-law, big sister, the two of you quarreled from home all the way here, haven't you two quarreled enough? My ears are going to ring soon. Qin Yutong stood out to adjust the atmosphere, she was the most experienced in this. Shut up. Shut up. Qin Yutong pursed her sexy lips and immediately hid. Brother-in-law and big sister's current battle strength is already enough to fight against Thanos. Looking at Qinya's stubborn expression, Yihua's heart softened. However, as a supreme overlord, how can I lower my head to a woman? That is definitely not possible. I ordered takeout. Yihua said lightly, his tone became much calmer. Qin Yutong thought that brother-in-law would be stubborn to the end, and I didn't expect that brother-in-law would actually admit defeat. This is a bit interesting. Qinya naturally knew that now that I know that I am in the wrong, where did my ability to scold people go? Seeing that Qinya was not speaking, Yihua said beside Qinya's ear, did you forget about the matter that you promised me? You. Qinya was angered to the point that she hammered Yihua's chest with her small fists, while Yihua hugged onto Qinya's waist and brought her upstairs, leaving behind the stupefied Qin Yutong. That's it. Big sister is too weak, coaxing her with just a few words. Just a moment ago, they were still trying to kill each other. These two people are both weirdos. Looking at the 10 kilograms crayfish in front of her, Qinya was a bit absent-minded. This shameless scoundrel, he actually wanted me to help him peel 10 kilograms crayfish, and I even agreed to it. Looking at my tender and delicate hands, after peeling 10 kilograms of crayfish, even my hands will be gone. Yihua sat like a big boss. Looking at Qinya's helpless look, he felt very happy in his heart. I suddenly discovered that this woman is actually able to affect my emotions. This is too strange. Qin Yutong wore her gloves, drank a mouthful of fruit juice first, then looked at the two weirdos in front of her and asked, why aren't you two taking action? I won't be polite then. Towards this sister-in-law, Yihua let her be, but Qinya was different. As my woman, the mother of my child. In the future, Qinya will be the biggest woman in the world. If I don't teach her properly now, how am I going to bring her out to see the world in the future? It would be good if I don't throw away all of my face. Big sister, what are you daydreaming for? This crayfish is not bad, it's super delicious. Qin Yutong discovered that with brother-in-law as a link, the relationship between her and big sister seemed to have become better. This is really strange. Chapter 30. Looking at how her big sister didn't even eat the food and gave all the food to her brother-in-law to eat, Qin Yutong was dumbstruck. Were they quarreling just now? Obviously, it was brother-in-law who admitted defeat first. Why did it make it seem like sister was the one who was afraid? Yihua was still very satisfied with Qinya tonight. I feel a bit like someone's wife. Gradually, half of the crayfish was gone. Chinya wrinkled her eyebrows and continued to peel the crayfish. However, right now, her fingers were already a little painful. After all, those hands of hers in the past were carefully taken care of, and adding on that her skills in peeling crayfish were not up to par. Chinya was this kind of woman, she would do what she said, no matter how bitter it was, she would still complete her promise. Done. Yihua shouted faintly, then passed the prawn meat in his bowl to Chinya. The stubborn Chinya didn't give Yihua face at all. She picked up the prawn meat and put it back, then continued to peel the prawn meat. Qin Yutong lightly sighed, big sister is still as stubborn as before. Yihua didn't say anything. He seemed to have discovered another strong point of Chinya. Perhaps, Chinya isn't that stupid anymore. Finally, Chinya finished peeling all of the crayfish, and the crayfish meat in Yihua's bowl was filled to the brim. Looking at her fingers that had turned red, Chinya felt very sad as she felt a burning sensation on her fingers. Eat a bit. Yihua passed his bowl to Chinya and said lightly. At least you have some conscience. Chinya took off her glove, picked up a piece of prawn meat and placed it into the gravy, stirred it for a bit, then ate it in satisfaction. This is truly delicious. Yihua silently gazed at Chinya. Just a moment ago, Chinya had a sad look on her face, but after eating a piece of prawn meat, she looked as if she was about to become drunk. Qin Yutong felt that coming here today was the right choice, the two of them were truly too much fun. Sis, how about we go watch a movie later? Avengers 3, it's super cool. Qin Yutong suggested. I also really want to go and film the movie, but it's a pity that I don't have a role in it, it's a tragedy. It's not possible to forcefully add a hero into the movie, right? Chinya, who was eating the prawn, said faintly, ask him. Brother-in-law, let's go. It is very nice to watch. When a big celebrity starts acting coquettishly, no man would be able to resist her. He felt that Chinya's performance today was not bad and should be rewarded, sure. That's true, big sister, let's go and prepare. I have to go fully armed, Qin Yutong said excitedly, completely unaware of the fact that Yihua had already tacitly agreed to be the head of the family, and everything that Qin Yutong did had to go through Yihua's approval before she could do anything. Yihua took out a tissue and wiped his mouth, then stood up and sat on the sofa. Today, Chinya was already cleaning the house, and Yihua was feeling extremely gratified in his heart. This is developing in a good direction, and furthermore, after cleaning the house today, Chinya didn't complain at all. Not bad, not bad. Chinya laughed tenderly in her heart. Do you think that I have become a lot more obedient? Let me tell you, Yihua, this is all an illusion. Bastard, he actually dared to instruct me to peel so many crayfish. I will definitely take revenge for this. Since his sister-in-law wanted to dress up, Yihua gave up the bedroom and came to the office to smoke. I wonder if that Long Outyen has been dealt with yet. Evidently, it would not be that fast. Although Death Assassin had superb searching abilities, he still needed time, and he did not have Wei Chang's abnormal strength. After continuously smoking 2 cigarettes, Yihua became a bit impatient. Is there a need to dress up for such a long time? Do you think this is a beauty contest? To actually make me wait for such a long time? Standing up and leaving the office, Yihua directly pushed open the door and arrived at the bedroom. Chinya could be seen sitting at the side, holding onto a mirror and carefully dressing up. Yihua couldn't help but say, you are already beautiful enough, is there a need to dress up for such a long time? Chinya paused for a moment, then looked at Yihua and said faintly, am I really that beautiful? Yihua wrinkled his brows, this woman likes to ask questions that she already knows the answer to, don't make me answer such a stupid question. Is this question very stupid? The bathroom door could be seen being opened, and another Chinya walked out. Yihua was a bit surprised. After taking a look at the two Chinya, I am actually unable to differentiate them with my naked eyes. This Qing Yutong is not bad. However, what I can be sure of is that this Qingya who came out from the bathroom is the real Qing Yutong, and the one who put on makeup is Qing Yutong. Just now, when Qingya was going to the bathroom, she heard the conversation outside. This fellow said that I am beautiful, at least you are tactful. You even know how to say a few nice words, but thinking about how my little sister put on makeup to look like me again, my head hurts. In actuality, the two sisters do have some degree of similarity. Both of them have a height of 1.75 m, and their body figures are about the same as well. Adding on that Qin Yutong's makeup skills are able to pass off as the real Qin Yutong, even Yihua was fooled, let alone other people. Right now, when the two of them stand together, they look just like the same person. Qin Yutong even had to imitate their hairstyle and clothes. Simple ponytail, white t-shirt, slim-fitting jeans, pure yet not sexy, especially the height of the two women, which created a pair of extremely long and beautiful legs. It was simply blinding. Chapter 31. Qingya could be seen walking forward, hugged onto Yihua's arm and said, "My dear, let's go quickly." Seeing that, Qing Yutong immediately understood her big sister's intention. She wants to cause trouble and make brother-in-law go bankrupt. Interesting. Qing Yutong also hugged onto Yihua's other arm and said softly, "Brother-in-law, let's go quickly, it is going to start soon." In just a moment, more than 10 women could be seen turning around and walking away, leaving behind only 3 customers. From their expressions, it seems like they are only here to get drunk. Wei Chang sighed, "If this goes on, I will really go bankrupt." The waiters and security guards in the bar were also helpless. Ever since the boss openly brought women back, the business had not been that good. And now, he brought 2 women back at once, and they were even twins. How could others not be angry? After all, the women who came here to drink were all here for the boss. Looking at the boss and the twins, Tang Wei's heart had already calmed down a lot, seemingly no longer infatuated with the boss. Turning her head and looking at Wei Chang, she felt that Uncle Wei was much more amiable than the boss, considerate and caring, and also a handsome uncle type. Satisfied? Yihua said gravely. Qingya and Qing Yutong immediately let go of Yihua's arm, and as if nothing had happened, they walked forward with large strides. In the past, just Qingya alone was already troublesome enough, and now, there is also a sister-in-law. I feel that she is not a good person either. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have let her come. Qingya did not make a mistake this time. Having more beds is not that simple. Coming to the outside of Leisure Bar, Yihua looked around. In the past, the bar would be packed with people at this time, and now, it is actually so bleak. Qingya secretly took a glance at Yihua, feeling great from head to toe. "I will anger you bastard to death. Do you really think that I am easy to mess with? Let me peel crayfish, I will make you go bankrupt." "Drive," Qingya said to her little sister, and Qing Yutong spread out her hands. The 2 sisters sat at the front, while Yihua sat at the back like a big boss. Wanting to teach Qingya a good lesson is simply too difficult. This is really a headache. I didn't expect that there would be a day where I would be troubled over a woman. 10+ minutes later, everyone arrived at the All Things shopping center. Inside, there was a one-stop service of eating, drinking, and playing. All Things Cinema was also a high-end cinema. A movie ticket cost around 100 RMB. To ordinary consumers, it was really a luxury. However, this time, Avengers 3 was screening, and for the sake of pursuing high-quality enjoyment, a lot of people came here to watch it. If it wasn't for Qing Yutong having booked the tickets online in advance, it was reckoned that there wouldn't be any seats left. When Yihua brought Qingya and Qing Yutong and appeared in the shopping mall, everyone stopped their footsteps and revealed a look of shock in their eyes, because this pair of twins looked too alike. It was as if they were the same person, and the important point was that they were very beautiful. With a model-like height of 1.75 meters, she was destined to have a pair of long and beautiful legs that could be used for a lifetime. Although her clothes were ordinary, her overall temperament was excellent. It had to be said that she was too dazzling. What was even more eye-catching was the man. His temperament was a bit cold. Although there were beautiful women beside him, there was no trace of pride in his eyes. It was as if everything was natural, as if it was a great honor for these two women to be by his side. This combination of attractiveness was really unparalleled. Men looked at beautiful women, and women looked at handsome men. They did not interfere with each other. The three of them directly arrived at All Things Cinema, and there were quite a lot of people waiting to enter the cinema. Qin said to her sister, "Let's collect the tickets and buy snacks." Qin Yutong pursed her lips. "Big sister, when did you become lazy? Learn from your brother-in-law. When you are not here, these jobs will be done by me. When you are here, these jobs will be done by you. Of course, you can also go and live in a hotel." Qin spread out her hands and said helplessly. Qin wants to chase Qin Yutong away. However, chasing Qin Yutong away is also good. Qin Yutong is not someone who is easy to deal with, and furthermore, she is also Qin's little sister, so I won't really do anything to her. No. Why would I care about the relationship between humans? After hearing that, Qin Yutong opened up her sexy little mouth, pointed at the two people and said, "Big sister, brother-in-law, you two, how can you two bully a little girl like this? There are a lot of people queuing up, quickly go and come back quickly. I want Sprite and popcorn." Yihua said faintly. "I want Coke and popcorn." Qin imitated Yihua's tone and said. Qin Yutong's face was filled with disbelief, and after holding it in for a long time, she said, "You guys are truly arrogant." Yihua and Qin did not pay attention to Qin Yutong and found a seat to sit down. Qin Yutong, who was unwilling to give up, came in front of Yihua and stretched out her hand. "What is it?" Yihua asked. "You need money to buy things, give me money." Qin Yutong said angrily. "No, look for your big sister. Don't look at me, I didn't bring any money, look for your brother-in-law." Qin immediately dispelled her little sister's thoughts. When did my little sister's temper become so good? Yihua wrinkled his brows. As a woman, you don't even bring any money when you go out. As a man, you don't even bring any money when you go out. Qin replied coldly. Seeing that the two of them were about to start quarreling again, Qin Yutong gave in. "You two don't quarrel, I will buy it all right." Yihua and Qin snorted coldly, neither of them paid attention to the other. Qin Yutong, who was queuing up to buy things, was very gloomy. "I am a famous movie empress, and in the morning, I was still being chased after by a group of fans, and right now, I actually became an errand boy. This contrast is a bit big, but it is very interesting. Brother-in-law is a man who doesn't walk the normal path, and big sister's change is even more extraordinary, as if she is changed into a different person. Could it be that pregnant is really 3 years of stupidity?" After waiting for more than 10 minutes, Qin Yutong finally completed the task without any mishaps. "My lords, these are your things." Yihua took a look at Qin, and the latter immediately understood what he meant. "To even let me insert a straw, do you have to be so lazy? Do you still want to live happily or not?" Qin Yutong didn't understand. "I have already bought things back. Why do the two of you still have this kind of expression on your faces? We must be enemies in our previous lives, right?" Looking at Yihua's threatening expression, Qin was very unhappy. "However, there were a lot of people here, so I will give him a bit of face and properly teach him a lesson when we go back." Stretching out his hand and inserting the straw into the Sprite, Yihua's expression eased up. Qin Yutong, who was at the side, almost spat out the drink she was drinking. So there is actually such a thing. Did big sister have some blackmail on brother-in-law? Why is big sister so obedient? 8:10 p.m. Avengers 3 can enter the venue. 8:10 p.m., Avengers 3 can enter the venue. 8:10 p.m., Avengers 3 can enter the venue. After the broadcast rang for 3 times, they were finally able to enter the venue. Qing Yutong was in high spirits, while Yihua and Qingye were very calm, seemingly not very interested, especially Yihua. Needless to say, Yihua sat in the middle like a big boss, while Qingye and Qing Yutong sat at the sides, looking just like a princess. Of course, that was under Yihua's contrast. Just who is the one that made who lose face? Add one more word in front, and maybe I'll consider it. A smart woman would always leave some leeway for a man. She would not add fuel to the fire. After all, both of them were building a relationship for the unborn child. Neither of them wanted the child to be born without a father or mother. As for the divorce, both of them were well aware of it. If you don't say it, I don't say it. When the time comes, they will not divorce, but who knows what the result will be. Hearing Qingye's words, Yihua laughed from anger. This woman is truly audacious. Wifey, come here. Although he added 2 words, his tone was still arrogant. Qingye didn't take it to heart. It's just that, I don't know exactly who will be the one to teach who well. After getting slightly closer to Yihua, Yihua immediately felt his waist tighten. This fellow is actually hugging onto me and taking advantage of me. Let go of me. Qingye shouted while blushing. Yihua firmly held on to Qingye's willow waist, to prevent this foolish woman from doing the things that he hated. Qing Yutong followed behind and pondered attentively. These 2 people, if I didn't guess wrongly, there must be something wrong with their brains, and only I can be considered as a normal person. Brother-in-law, let's go and play video games. Qing Yutong shouted. Yihua took a look, childish. 5 minutes later, the 3 arrived at the shopping mall's arcade. Yihua generously took out his WeChat and paid the bill, and Qing Yutong gave him a thumbs up. What he used was my money. Qingye suddenly added a sentence. Yihua was very unhappy. Will you die if you don't speak? Will you die if you don't hug onto my waist? Qingye immediately retorted back. Qing Yutong shook her head. These 2 retards. Arriving in front of the dance machine, Qing Yutong was already standing on it. That charming figure of hers immediately attracted the cheers of a group of perverts. Let go of me. Qingye said coldly. What are you doing? Nonsense, of course I'm going to play. Qingye revealed out a look of, you are an idiot, don't you come to the arcade to play? I remember that when I was young, I played dance machines together with my little sister, but because of one thing, the 2 of us fell out. Yihua said faintly, you are not allowed. I'm afraid that you will jump my child out. Yihua said gravely, how can this woman be so stupid? Qingye was also startled. Luckily Yihua reminded me, if I were to jump my child out of the dance machine, I would even have the heart to die. I almost forgot that I am still a pregnant woman. Seeing that Qingye did not resist, Yihua let go of his hand and took out a cigarette from his pocket. Can you not smoke in front of me? It is not good for the child. If you want to smoke, go outside. Qingye said displeasedly, how can a pregnant woman breathe in secondhand smoke? Yihua paused for a moment, then stuffed the cigarette back into the box and said calmly, all right. The 2 stood together and looked at Qing Yutong, who was jumping around on the dance machine. As expected of an actress, her dancing posture is indeed impressive, incomparably sexy. That flirtatious look of hers attracted a large group of perverts to scream. Qingye's expression was cold. Her little sister's current actions were completely slandering me. Who knows which reporter might see it and report it carelessly. Qing Yutong, who was drenched in sweat, still did not seem to be satisfied, and Qingye couldn't help but shout out, enough, it is time to go back. Qing Yutong pouted her small mouth. I know that big sister is angry right now. It is not easy for me to indulge myself for once. Forget it, I will dress up as big sister again next time to come and play. Hey, beautiful lady, why are you not dancing anymore? Dance another song. A few youngsters could be seen walking out from the crowd with cigarettes in their mouths, with their heads held high and their chests puffed out, striding with their feet splayed outwards. This kind of attitude and pace was simply asking for a beating. There were still people discussing amongst the crowd. I have a friend who also used this kind of walking posture in the past, and right now, the grass on his grave is already 2 meters tall. What a coincidence, I have a friend who also used this kind of walking posture. He stayed there until his wife remarried. This kind of walking posture is trending this year. It is commonly known as the mouth cannon walking posture. It is very cool. Yihua missed this kind of feeling very much, so much so that a long time ago, there was a human genius level expert who walked arrogantly to exterminate me. Although his walking posture was cool, there was something wrong with his brain, and in the end, he ended up in Wei Chang's stomach. Thinking back to the scene on that day, it was really funny. It was almost the same as now. What are you laughing at? Qingye asked curiously. Although Yihua always makes me angry, when he smiles, he is really very good-looking and very charming. I wonder who my child will look like when he is born. I will find out after 9 months. Yihua kept away his smile and said faintly, recalling the things in the past. Chapter 33. Tell me about it. Qingye asked curiously. If you change your bad habits, I'll tell you. Who has more bad habits? Speak clearly to me. Qingye felt that her and Yihua were definitely not on good terms, and they would definitely quarrel after just a few sentences of conversation. Qing Yutong was also drunk. There is a little scoundrel coming to take liberties with me, and you two actually only care about quarreling, and don't care about the other party. What kind of sister was this? What kind of brother-in-law was this? Someone is bullying me. Qing Yutong couldn't help but interrupt. If not, they would definitely ignore her. Yihua silently took a look at her. If I bully you, then fight back. Is there even a need for me to teach you something like this? Yeah, didn't you learn kung fu? Can't you handle a few punks? Qingye said faintly. When I was young, my younger sister was already a little tyrant. Don't be fooled by her gender. When she fights, she is even more ferocious than boys. You! Qing Yutong was angered to the point that she didn't know what to say. These two are simply a perfect match. When they coordinate with each other, they can infuriate people to death. Qing Yutong turned her head around and looked towards the 3 scoundrels, and Qing Yutong became angry. It's fine if I am bullied by the 2 of them, but the 3 of you came as well. A bunch of trash. Do you really think this lady is a weak woman? Qing Yutong's aura could be seen changing, and a faint killing intent could be seen emitting out from her entire body. As expected of a shadow empress, to be able to even imitate killing intent, Yihua had to give her a thumbs up. The hooligan's mind was a little confused, and he hurriedly said, "Miss, calm down. Cold your sister." Qing Yutong exploded, her small fists directly smashed onto the stomach of the delinquent, and the latter fell onto the ground like a cooked shrimp. Seeing this, the 2 lackeys behind him didn't know what to do. It was clearly the boss who went to tease others. How did he get hit by the girl? This didn't make sense. Qing Yutong did not have the intention to stop, and only after kicking the other 2 people to the ground, did she stop. The surrounding people couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. This seemingly delicate beauty was actually so ruthless. 3 men weren't her match, and from the looks of it, she didn't even use her full strength. Truly amazing. Yihua said, not bad. You became even more powerful. Qingye praised. Qing Yutong really wanted to give each of them a punch. It's easier said than done. Who's making trouble here? A 2-meter tall burly man could be seen walking out from within the crowd. His arm was even thicker than Qingya's thigh, and when he stood up, he was like a small mountain. With a ferocious look on his face, the people who were watching the show couldn't help but retreat a bit. Yihua let out a breath and walked out. The two sisters went into a daze for a moment. With those small arms and legs of yours, you shouldn't stick your head out, right? If you were to injure any part of your body, wouldn't you still have to take care of it yourself? However, Yihua was also thinking like this. If Qing Yutong's bones were to be fractured, I and Qingya would also be responsible for it. At that time, it would be troublesome for Qing Yutong to be hospitalized and so on. Thus, I might as well do it myself. Walking to the front of the man who was like a small hill, Yihua let out a breath. It has been 5 years since I last hit someone. This time, when I hit someone, I definitely have to control my strength well and not beat him to death. Brother-in-law, quickly come back, your arms aren't even as thick as other people's legs. Qing Yutong placed both of her hands at the side of her mouth and shouted, seemingly as if she was afraid that other people didn't know what was happening. Following Qing Yutong's shout, everyone knew that this man was the beautiful woman's brother-in-law, and the other woman was the wife. This man's luck with women is not shallow, but to meet such a huge figure, I feel that I am going to be hung up and beaten. Don't try to show off, quickly come back. Qingya couldn't help but shout out. Yihua's heart was bleeding, these two ignorant women actually looked down on me like this. Brat, your wife is asking you to go home and eat, bang. Yihua placed both of his hands into his pockets, what are you looking at, go home. The two sisters did not even see clearly what happened, and before the burly man could finish speaking, he was already sent flying out and smashed onto a machine. Fuck, what did that man do just now? Don't know, I only saw the burly man being sent flying out. Too formidable, his punches are actually so fast. Qing Yutong was dumbstruck, I didn't expect that her brother-in-law would also be an expert among the commoners. Qing Yutong hurriedly shouted, brother-in-law, wait for me, and this was also the first time that Qingya saw Yihua's martial strength, and she had a lingering fear in her heart. If that punch was on my body, then prepare to pinch my philtrum. In the office on the second floor, the manager on duty witnessed the entire process and hurriedly made a phone call. Master, I discovered a strange man, he sent the mountain flying with a single punch. There was no exclamation of surprise from the phone, and the manager said indifferently, go and check it out then. All right, master. The three sat on the Audi A8, and Qing Yutong kept on asking various kinds of questions, causing Yihua to be very irritated. That punch just now was not bad, the strength was controlled very well, I only used 0.1% of my strength, and it was able to achieve a deterrent effect, and no one died. Comfortable. In the future, I will just use this kind of strength. Brother-in-law. How did you do it? Teach me. Qingya, who was driving, said, your brother-in-law likes to act cool, especially in front of beautiful women. Yihua glared at Qingya, then looked at Qing Yutong and said, I'm not free. Brother-in-law, Qing Yutong let out that charming voice. Qingya was in a bad mood just by listening to it, you are trying to seduce your brother-in-law. Speak properly. Qingya reprimanded coldly. Qing Yutong clicked her tongue, crazy wife who is protective of her husband. Qing Yutong angrily leaned on the side and sulked. The two of them teamed up to bully me. Looking at the supper stall outside, she said, I want to eat supper. You ate so much just now, and you are still able to eat. Qingya, who was driving, was speechless. I want it, I want it, I want it. Qing Yutong actually acted shamelessly, this made Yihua doubt his own judgment. This is completely like a child that hasn't grown up, how is this a mature woman? Qingya is still much better. Qingya had no choice but to stop the car by the roadside, and the three of them sat at a barbecue stall by the roadside. In front of the barbecue stall, there was even a worn-out television that was playing the news. So comfortable, Qing Yutong said comfortably. The summer breeze by the riverside felt very comfortable, just like giving a face massage. Yihua remained silent. Compared to their beauty, Yihua preferred to watch the news report more. Brother-in-law, why are you staring at me like that? Big sister will misunderstand. Although it is said that half of a sister-in-law's but belongs to brother-in-law, but brother-in-law, aren't you being too open and aboveboard like this? Qing Yutong said bashfully. She acted very well, and she even touched her own face shyly. Yihua said faintly, move aside a bit, block me from watching the news. Puchi. Qingye couldn't help but laugh, and Qing Yutong's face darkened. Brother-in-law, this scoundrel. According to the news from our station, a fire broke out in a castle on the outskirts of London today, causing the castle to collapse. Fortunately, there were no casualties. Qing Yutong sighed, for such a big castle to collapse, there was actually no casualties, this is too mystical. Qingye turned her head around and took a look, I reckon that there was no one living there. Only Yihua knew why there were no casualties, because those people were all in Wei Chang's stomach. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.